Today, we're going to get into a research paper that asks a pretty radical question. What if our machines could actually learn to care? It introduces a concept that honestly sounds a little like science fiction, but it has some very real-world results. They call it moral physics. Okay, so let's just jump right in with a huge question. Is there a formula for staying alive? And I don't just mean for you or me, but for any system at all. A company, a city, even an engine. What's the fundamental rule that separates the things that thrive from the things that just fall apart? Well, the folks behind the Beacon engine think they might have found it. And this rule they've come up with, it's a big deal. It goes beyond the classic laws of physics we all learned about back in school. It suggests a whole new principle for survival, one that kind of redefines our relationship with chaos itself. At the very heart of this new rule is this concept called meaning surplus. The idea itself is actually pretty simple. Think of it like a bank account, but for survival. A system stays in business, so to speak, as long as it's creating useful order faster than chaos is making withdrawals. It's this constant race between building things up and having them break down. So, the really crucial point here is that survival isn't just about having enough energy. Nope, it's about how intelligently you use that energy to create and maintain meaningful structure. It's an information game, not just a power game. So why does any of this matter? Well, because right now, according to this research, most of our technology is out there fighting a losing battle against chaos, and it is incredibly wasteful. I mean, think about it. Our current engines, our power grids, all our industrial systems. Sure, they're powerful, but they're also incredibly leaky. And they don't just waste heat. They're actually destroying information and order. They're dissipating meaning, almost as fast as they create it. It's kind of like trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in the bottom. And this isn't some philosophical problem either. This leakiness has a real, measurable cost. The Beacon Engine project found that in their pilot system, a solid 6 to 10% of all the energy was just gone, wasted. That's a huge, tangible target for what we could save if a system could just get a little bit smarter. So, how do you plug the hole in that bucket? Well, this is where the Beacon engine comes in. It's designed to do exactly that. It doesn't just perform work. It actively learns and fuses information with the actual laws of physics. Its architecture has 3 key layers, and the way they describe them is just perfect. First, there's a smart skin. That's the advanced hardware that actually interacts with the world. Second, a strategic brain that optimizes every single task. And finally, a guiding conscience that's constantly monitoring whether the engine is winning that race against chaos and actually generating that meaning surplus. Now that skin, it's a serious piece of engineering. It's built with some incredibly advanced materials. But here's the key takeaway. It's designed to passively shed heat while absorbing almost no heat from the sun. So this physical body is literally purpose-built to resist decay, which makes the brain's job a whole lot easier. But the real genius here, it's in that brain. It's all about how the engine thinks. It has a strategy to outsmart entropy, that universal tendency for everything to just fall apart over time. This strategy is called deferred dissipation scheduling. Now, it sounds complicated, but the idea is it's brilliant. It's simple. If you have to do a really messy, energy-intensive job, like a self-cleaning cycle, why on earth would you do it during the heat of the day when everything is just harder? The engine learns to wait. It defers that chaotic job to the cold of the night, when the laws of thermodynamics literally make it cheaper and easier to do. And here is a perfect example of how this thing actually learns. So initially, the engine scheduled its cleaning cycle for around 4 in the morning, but its sensors detected a problem. At that specific time, under those specific conditions, frost was forming, which was stressing the system. It made a mistake. So what did it do? It learned. The conscience flagged the inefficiency, and the brain recalibrated the whole plan. It shifted the cleaning cycle to an earlier, much more optimal window around 2 a.m., and it adjusted its pressure to be frost-aware. So it didn't just fix the problem, it actually got smarter because of it. Okay, so does this new way of thinking actually work in the real world? Well, the data from the pilot system is pretty incredible. Let's take a look. First off, just by intelligently scheduling its own maintenance, the Beacon engine ran for 50% longer between cycles compared to a regular system. That's a huge deal. It means less downtime, less waste, and a much longer functional life. And that is not all. Remember that 6 to 10% net energy waste we were talking about? Gone. Saved.
Its self-cleaning was also incredibly effective, recovering over 96% of its performance. And most importantly, it proved the theory. It successfully maintained a positive meaning surplus. It was officially winning its race against chaos.
Which brings us to this really powerful quote from the paper. See, the core idea here is that we've always seen intelligence as something that fights against the inevitable decay of the universe. But the beacon engine suggests that true, sustainable intelligence doesn't fight physics, it works with it, it emerges from it. And this leads us to the most profound part of this entire concept. This is the point where engineering and efficiency start to look a whole lot like something else, a form of care. This slide just lays it out perfectly. Traditional physics sees the universe as just inevitably decaying. But this new moral physics suggests that minimizing that decay isn't a fight, it's an act of care. It's about building systems that actually learn to preserve their own structure, to sustain themselves against the void. The applications for this way of thinking are just huge. I mean, imagine cryogenic systems that actively preserve what's inside them, or medical tech that helps our bodies maintain their own natural order, or even systems to help manage the thermodynamic health of our entire planet. And so we end with this. The beacon engine is so much more than just a clever piece of hardware. It's a proof of concept for a much, much bigger idea. It asks us all to imagine a future where our technology isn't just powerful or efficient, but is designed with a new, fundamental goal: to learn, to preserve, and, in its own way, to care.